so, historians, of course, it's Spanish history, right? And so Spanish historians thinking about this time in Spain where Muslims, Christians, and Jews had to be, live together, came up with the word convivencia, really coined the word to kind of capture a way of thinking about what went on there. Con, the idea of with or together, and vivencia, living. So the time of living together, kind of. And I think it's a really, I really like that word, because like nowadays we often use the word tolerance. And, tolerance is an okay word, and I understand that, but there's an American historian, as it turns out a Jesuit, one of the great historians of medieval Spain, Robert I. Burns, he recently died, was a Jesuit, and and one of the things he wrote, he kind of had a little riff on the word tolerance, and he said, there's something so small about it in a way, like I tolerate you, like mere tolerance, like it's okay for you to, I'm going to let you be here in my sight. It almost has that kind of feeling to it, whereas the tone, in a way, of living to convivencia is something different, that it maybe doesn't diminish or overlook the fact that it's not easy for us always to live together, but somehow, to me, it has a little bit of a feel of we can bring something each to the table here to each other, and I think that was that. And one of the, when I first started writing the book, I had in school studied this a tiny bit, but not well, so I didn't really know that history well, and in a way, what I was hoping for was like Disneyland, that these guys had cracked the code, and it was wonderful, and it wasn't Disneyland, I mean, they, were times of, warfare and difficulty, and all of these kinds of things went on, and even at the best of times, there always would have been, some levels of tension or prejudice, and, I'm a Christian, and I want to be with Christians, I mean, if I have a chance of living in the Muslim neighborhood or the Christian neighborhood, I'm going to live in my neighborhood, just the same way as like I'm a, Irish Catholic kid from Queens, and I feel more comfortable hanging out with Irish Catholic kids from Queens, so all of this was part of the thing. But one of the things that is so to me, one of the learnings was that it does not gloss over the reality of difficulties, that I believe things sometimes that you can't believe, you can't believe who Jesus is. I as a Christian, you as a Jew, you as a Muslim. We have different ideas of who Jesus is and about many things, and so there are sources of tension, and we don't pretend those don't exist or abstract from them, but find a way nonetheless to live together and enrich each other, and that is the other great part of this story, that whether you think about it, intellectually, there are so many things from, mathematical ideas to even the language. A lot of the Spanish language now has Muslim loan words, to decor. There's a very distinctive kind of look of this Spanish Moorish look, and above all of daily life, and the interesting thing to me is that where convivencia worked best was often these very small places, where, I mean, like a town of 2,000 people, 3,000 people, where, there weren't 50,000 people, so it wasn't like there could be a Muslim shoemaker and a Jewish shoemaker and a Christian one, and I could patronize my own, but like if there's 2,000 of us, maybe there's only enough business for one shoemaker, and they realize, you realize, hey, I mean, this guy does good work, and he's not going to rip me off, and he wants a clean neighborhood same as I do, and he wants his kids educated by I do, and then you see this real human connection. That to me is, at the end of the day, the real lesson, that when you, I mean, to say what we all know, that when you really encounter people humanly instead of just on a piece of paper, you quickly realize, well, look, I mean, much of what we want for ourselves and for our families and for humanity is exactly the same, and the Muslim fireman is gonna risk his life to save my kid, and not only a Muslim's life, and so on. So I, really liked even though at first it wasn't what I hoped, I realized maybe in a way that what I was hoping for was wrong or simplistic, and so it taught me a lot of good, interesting things.